Hello students and welcome to the study portal. The topic of today's video is excretory system. In today's video, we will understand the introduction to the excretory system. That is, we will understand what is actually excretory system, its definition and the organs involved in the excretory system. After that, we will understand the basic functions performed by the excretory system. We will also understand the anatomy of the excretory system, that is, the structures involved in the excretory system performing the excretion of the waste materials. We will understand the structural anatomy and the blood supply to different organs of the excretory system. We will also go through the mechanism of blood filtration performed by the kidney, that is, the physiology of the formation of the urine and the filtration of blood and excreting out the toxic substances into urine. At the end of this video, we will understand the process of dialysis, which is performed due to some of the disorders of the excretory system. So, without delay, let's start the video. So, what is actually excretory system? Let's understand the excretory system in detail. So, excretory system is a passive biological system which removes excess unnecessary materials from the body fluids of an organism. Alright, so here you can see in the picture, it is given the diagrammatic representation of the excretory system. So, it is the system of an organism in which the body that performs the function of excretion. Alright, it is responsible for the performing of excretion in the human body, the process through which the metabolic waste products are removed from the body and the blood is filtered and the metabolic waste products are excreted in the form of fluid which is called as urine. Alright, so several body parts are involved in this process such as sweat glands, liver, lungs and the kidney system. So every human has 2 kidneys, every one of us are aware with this fact. So the pair of kidneys and the other associated organs come under excretory system. Hope this is clear to you now. The definition of excretory system, that what is actually excretory system. It is a passive biological system which removes excess unnecessary materials from the body fluids of an organism so that internal chemical homeostasis is maintained in the body and damage is prevented. Alright, so the basic function of the excretory system is the elimination of the waste products that is created due to metabolism. Alright, let's understand some of the functions performed by the excretory system. So, the basic function of the excretory system is the removal of metabolic waste from the body. So, let's understand the functions. First, as I told you, the first function is the removal of metabolic waste and medicines from the body. The second function is to balance the body fluids. Let me write over here. Is to balance the body fluids. Third function is the balance of variety of electrolytes in the body. Right here for you. Balance body's fluids so that chemical hemostasis is maintained in the body. Number 2 is the balance variety of electrolytes. Number third is it releases hormones to control blood pressure. Number third, it releases hormones to control RBC's production as well. The hormone erythropoietin is regulated and controlled by the kidneys, which helps in the production of the RBCs. Alright, it also helps with the bone health by controlling calcium and phosphorus. It also controls calcium and phosphorus. So these are the functions performed by the excretory system. Now talking about the functions in detail. So it performs basically these four functions. Number one is the filtration. The excretory tubule which are present in the excretory system collect the filtrate from the blood, and water and solutes are forced by the blood pressure across the selectively permeable membrane into the excretory tubule. So first function is the filtration of blood. Second function it performs is the reabsorption. So the important material which are filtrated from the blood are then reabsorbed, which are very important for the body, are then reabsorbed into the bloodstream, and the rest. Next function is the secretion. So other substances are also extracted from body fluids and added to the contents of the excretory tube. So it also secretes certain substances. Next function is the excretion. So it helps in the filtrate of the blood, which is very toxic and harmful for the body, is then excreted out of the body with the help of excretory system. So these are the functions of the excretory system. Hope the functions are clear to you now. Now talking about the anatomy of the human excretory system, that which structures or which organs are involved in the excretory system and what is their morphology. So let's understand the anatomy of the human excretory system. So human excretory system is made up of different organs which are involved in the process of excretion. So it includes the kidneys. A pair of kidneys are involved. Here in this picture you can see the pair of kidneys. These are the pair of kidneys. Then pair of kidneys is attached with the ureters. Here you can see a pair of ureters. Then here is the urinary bladder. The ureters are attached with the urinary bladder, which collects the urine sample, urine in the blood. Then the urinary bladder excretes the urine with the help of urethra. So the excretory system consists of kidneys, ureters, urinary bladder and the urethra. Alright, so waste products of metabolism are excluded out of the body, which includes ammonia, urea and uric acid. Alright, so the kidney consists of its functional unit, many of the functional units called nephron. Nephron is very important unit of the excretory system. The excretory activity of kidney is changed and regularized by specialized hormone which regulates the amount of absorption within the nephron. Now talking about kidneys. So kidneys are located at both sides of the spine between the thoracic and the lumbar vertebra. Here you can see the location of the kidney. It is located between the thoracic and lumbar vertebra at both sides. Blood enters the kidney through renal arteries and leaves through the renal veins. Tubes called ureters are attached to the kidney. These are the ureters which carry waste product from the kidneys to the urinary bladder, which stores the urine. Then the urine is expelled out of the urinary bladder with the help of urethra. Now talking about the parts of the kidneys. So kidneys filter about 1700 liters of the blood daily in the average adult. The parts of the kidney The major parts of the kidney are cortex, medulla and hilum. So cortex is the outer protective portion of the kidney. Medulla is the medial inner soft portion, and hilum is the depression located in the middle of the concave side of kidney, where blood vessels, nerves and ureters enter and exit the kidney. In the picture you can see, let me show you properly. Here in this picture you can see that the outer portion is the cortex, then this pyramid type portion comes under the medulla. This is medulla. This portion is medulla. The outer portion is called as cortex, and this portion depressed present on the concave side where the ureters are attached is called as the hilum. Cortex is where the blood is filtered. Medulla consists of the collecting blood ducts as I have shown you in the picture, which carries the blood filtrate, and the pelvis is a hollow cavity where urine is accumulated and is drained into the ureters. Now is the nephron. Nephron is the functional unit of the kidney. The kidney is composed of many functional units which are called as nephrons. So nephrons are located in the renal cortex region except for their loops of Henle. It is not present in the loops of Henle. The loops of Henle is not present in the renal cortex except the nephrons are located in the renal cortex. Now talking about nephrons in detail, that what is the structure of nephron, because nephron is a very important structure of the kidney. Nephron is a functional unit of the kidney. It is the structure that actually produces urine in the process of removing waste and excess substances from the blood. There are about 1 lakh nephrons in each human kidney. The most primitive nephrons are found in the kidneys in the renal corpuscle, as I told you before. So each nephron is a long tubule or extremely fine tube about 30 to 50 mm long. At one end this tube is closed, expanded and folded into a double-walled cup-like structure, which is called as the Bowman capsule. Alright. It encloses a cluster of microscopic blood vessels, capillaries called the glomerulus. So here you can see the nephron structure is subdivided into two main parts. First one is the renal corpuscle, which includes Bowman capsule and the glomerulus. So Bowman's capsule is a renal corpuscular capsule, which is a cup-shaped structure which consists of microscopic blood vessels, which is capillaries, which is called as the glomerulus. So again, glomerulus consists of fenestrae, podocytes and the filtration slits. Fenestrae are the pores in the endothelial walls of glomerulus. Podocytes are the specialized cells present in the glomerulus, and the filtration slits helps in the filtration of blood in the kidney. So here you can see the structure of nephron. It is very important. So glomerulus is the capsule. Glomerulus consists of thin-walled capillaries, as you can see here. Alright, the capsule and glomerulus, the Bowman's capsule and glomerulus together consist of renal corpuscle. Alright, blood flows into and away from the glomerulus through tiny arteries called arterioles, which reach and leave the glomerulus through the open end of the capsule and the nephron tubule. Alright, the Bowman's capsule is a double-walled cup-shaped structure. Here you can see. Now, the proximal tubule leads from the Bowman's capsule to the loop of Henle. From here, it reaches here, the loop of Henle. Loop of Henle is a long loop which extends into the medulla. The distal tubule connects the loop of Henle. The distal tubule, this is the distal tubule. It connects the loop of Henle to the collecting duct. This is the collecting duct. So this is the structure of nephron. Each nephron receives its own blood supply from the arteriole, venule and the network of capillaries. Each nephron releases fluids to the collecting duct, which leads to the ureter. Now, each kidney contains more than 1 million nephrons. Blood flows through the kidney. Let's understand. The blood enters the renal artery. From the renal artery, the blood is transported into the arterioles, the afferent arterioles. Each afferent arteriole leads to the nephron. This is the nephron. Then the blood passes from each nephron to the renal corpuscle. Now, the blood is filtrated here. The waste material is filtrated and is collected into the collecting duct, which is then connected to the ureters, and the urine is filtered out from the blood. The glomerulus filters fluid from the blood and is the first phase where the urine is formed in the kidneys. The rate at which the blood flow in the glomerulus is constant. Alright, blood then passes into the renal tubules where some substances are reabsorbed, and the rest, which is not important, which is toxic to the body, becomes urine. Now the second structure is the renal tubule. It is the series of single layer tubules. It consists of PCT, proximal convoluted tubule, loop of Henle and the distal convoluted tubule. So these proximal convoluted tubule and distal convoluted tubule purifies the blood. It filters the blood, filtrates the blood and removes the waste material. Next is the ureter, which is attached to the kidney. A pair of ureters are present in the human body. It is approximately 6 to 7 inches long tube which is attached to each kidney. It is made up of 3 layers of tissue: smooth muscle, fiber tissue and the mucus layer. So the blood which is filtrated goes again into the bloodstream, and the urine which is filtered out from the blood enters the ureter. Now the smooth muscle present in the ureter helps in the rhythmic contraction for moving the urine into the bladder. This rhythmic contraction of ureter smooth muscles is called as peristalsis. Now talking about the urinary bladder. So urinary bladder is attached to the ureters. It is a hollow muscular organ whose function is the storage of urine. It consists of sphincter muscles which helps in holding the urine. Alright, so the urinary bladder is capable of holding 300 to 400 milliliters of urine before emptying. The walls of the urinary bladder consist of epithelial tissue which stretches to allow the bladder to hold twice its capacity. Alright, so trigone is a triangular area at the base of the bladder where the ureter enters and the urethra exits. Now, the urinary bladder is attached to a smooth tube of smooth muscles which is called as urethra. Urethra is a tube of smooth muscle with mucus lining in it which carries urine from the bladder to the outside of the body. It helps in the excretion of the urine from the human body. So urethra's size varies in males and females. In females, it is very small, short. It is approximately 1.5 inches long, and in males, it is approximately 8 inches long. In female, it opens through the meatus, while in male, it passes through 3 different regions: prostate glands and the membranous portion. Alright, so the length of the urethra is the reason why females are more prone to the urinary tract infection than the males. So females are more prone to the urinary tract infection of getting the urinary tract infection again and again because of the short length of urethra present in the females. Now talking about the flow of urine in the kidney, that how the urine flows in the kidney. So the blood is filtrated in the renal medulla and the renal cortex region. Then the blood is filtrated and the toxic substances are separated into urine. The urine flow first of all is collected into the glomerulus. Then from glomerulus it enters the renal tubules. Alright. After renal tubules, it enters the renal pelvis region, where the renal calyces or calyx are attached with the renal pelvis. Alright. So the renal calyxes collect the urine. Thereafter, the urine flows from the renal calyxes to the ureters, where through the peristaltic movement, the rhythmic contraction of the smooth muscles of the ureters, the urine is collected into the urinary bladder. Then the urine is excreted out from the urinary bladder through urethra. Now talking about the mechanism of blood filtration in the kidney. This is the physiology, that how the blood is filtrated out of the human body. So let's understand how the blood is filtered in the kidney. So the blood flows into the kidneys through the renal arteries. This large blood vessel branches into smaller and smaller blood vessels, which are called as arterioles. Alright, so these arterioles help in the filtration of blood. The impurities are filtered out and emptied into the collecting duct. In the nephrons, blood is filtered by the tiny blood vessels of the glomeruli and then flows out of the kidney through the renal vein. Alright, here it is written that the blood enters into the kidney through the arterioles and exits the nephron through the veins. Alright, so blood circulating through the kidneys many times a day. In a single day, kidneys filter about 150 quarts of blood. The mechanism of blood filtration in the kidney involves 2 processes. First one is the filtration and second one is the reabsorption. Now understanding the filtration, process of filtration. So each of the kidney is made up of, million filtering units called the nephrons. The nephrons work through a 2-step process. First one is the filtration. Alright, so what happens in the filtration? The filtration is achieved through the nephrons. Alright, and the reabsorption is achieved through the tubules. Now how the filtration is achieved? The filtration of blood mainly takes place in the glomerulus. Alright, so glomerulus is a small network of capillaries. We know as blood flows into each nephrons, it enters a cluster of tiny blood vessels in the glomerulus. Alright, now the thin walls of the glomerulus allows smaller molecules or waste and fluid, mostly water, to pass into the tubules. Alright. The larger molecules such as protein and blood cells stay in the blood vessels only. So this is how filtration is achieved. Alright, fluid from the blood flows into the Bowman's capsule. Materials which are very important are retained here in the blood arteries only, and the rest is filtered. Toxic material or harmful materials such as water, urea, glucose, amino acids, these are filtered. Alright. And the remaining fluid, which consists of the waste material in the tubule, becomes urine. Now what happens? The tubules that receive the separated material returns needed substances to the blood and removes the waste material. This process is called as reabsorption. Blood vessels runs alongside the tubule as the filtered fluid moves along the tubule. The blood vessel reabsorbs almost all of the water along with minerals and nutrients which are needed by the body. The tubules help remove excess acid from the blood. The remaining fluid and the wastage in the tubule becomes urine. So most of the material is removed from the blood by this process. Alright, almost 99% of the water that enters Bowman's capsule is reabsorbed into the blood. When the filtrate drains in the collecting ducts, most water and nutrients have been reabsorbed into the blood and the rest is excreted out of the body. So this is the diagrammatical representation that how blood flows. So blood flows from the arteries. The arteries divide and become smaller, which are called as afferent arteriole. This is how blood enters. It reaches to the Bowman's capsule. It reaches in the glomerulus. The glomerulus allows the smaller molecules to get separated, and the rest, bigger molecules, larger molecules, and the important plasma proteins and important minerals are then reabsorbed, and they remain here in the arterioles, while the rest, which is toxic and the smaller molecules, are then filtrated out through the proximal tubule. The tubule receives the urine, while the afferent arteriole retains the important material that needs to be reabsorbed into the blood, which is then reabsorbed into the blood through the help of afferent arteriole, and the rest filtrate is then transported into the ureters. Alright, so remaining material called urine is emptied into a collecting duct. The collecting duct is then attached to the ureters. So urine is primarily concentrated in the loop of Henle. What is loop of Henle? It is a section of nephron tubule in which water is conserved and the volume of urine is minimized. As the kidney works, purified blood is returned to the circulation while urine is collected in the urinary bladder. Urine is stored in the urinary bladder until it is released from the body through a tube called the urethra. So this was the whole process of mechanism of the formation of urine, that how urine is formed and how the kidneys perform the function of excretion in the human body. Now let's understand a very important function which is called as dialysis. In certain condition where the kidneys are not functioning properly and it is not filtrating the blood properly and the urine is not carried out from the blood, it is not filtrated properly by the blood, a process called dialysis is performed in such patient. So dialysis is a procedure to remove waste products and excess fluid from the blood when the kidney stop working properly. It often involves diverting blood to a machine to be cleaned. Alright. So the need of the dialysis is that in those patients whose kidneys are not working properly and they have excess fluid from the blood and the waste products need to be removed. Alright, so there are two main types of dialysis. First one is the hemodialysis and the second one is the peritoneal dialysis. Hemodialysis is the most common type of dialysis. Alright, in this procedure what happens, a tube is attached to the arm, blood passes along the tube and is collected into the external machine which filters it, and then it is connected to the another arm, and then the blood is again received in that arm. Second one is the peritoneal dialysis, which uses the inside lining of the abdomen as the filter rather than a machine. Alright, so these type of dialysis are there. There are two types of dialysis. So blood is removed by tube and pumped through the special tubing that acts like nephrons. Alright, then it is attached to a machine. In that, tiny pores are available in the tubings which allows salts and small molecules to pass through, and the waste is diffused out of the blood into the fluid-filled chamber. Now what happens? The purified blood is returned to the body. This is called as dialysis. This is the process of dialysis. So dialysis is performed in certain disorders of the kidneys in which the kidneys are not performing properly. So hope this video helps you at the end. Let's recall what we studied in today's session. So in today's session we understood that what is excretory system. So excretory system is a system of organs that are involved in the process of excretion. Excretion is the process in which the body's waste material, the body's metabolic waste materials are excreted out of the body in the form of urine. So the function of excretory system is the filtration, reabsorption, secretion and excretion. It is also involved in the balancing of body fluids and the electrolytes. Alright, now the parts of the organs of the excretory system are kidneys. A pair of kidneys are present in the human body which are then connected to the ureters. A pair of ureters. Ureters are attached to the urinary bladder which helps in the storage of urine, and ureter is attached to a small opening called the urethra from where the urine is excreted out of the body. We understood that kidney is formed from many functional units. The functional unit of the kidney is called as nephron. We understood the structure of nephron, and then we understood the mechanism of the blood filtration, that how the kidneys are filtering blood. We understood the physiology of urine formation, that how the urine is formed in the body and how it is stored and then excreted out of the body. Hope this session has benefited you.